Again, talk us through the FA Cup final. It's your first FA Cup final at the time. That's one that always holds.
That's the biggest one, isn't it? You know, the FA Cup final. The FA Cup is the one that, you know, as a kid you watch on television, don't you? So, and you see everyone winning the giant killers and all that, and then you watch the final and everything. To go to that one was amazing. But you're playing against Arsenal, and that's a tough side as well.
Well, you mentioned some of the players from the French youth team. You know, you
They were there.
Thierry Henry's, Lundbergs, etc. In that game, that Arsenal team was something.
Yeah, they were special. They were special. But again, I always say this: when you got Michael in your side, you've always got that little chance, haven't you? I mean, he's that one chance, and well, he got two, but and took them both. After the first, which one was the first one? Was
the first one where he dives in when it's like Owen's first goal, where it breaks in the box, Babel knocks it down.
That's the one, and then he kind of volleys it in. It's instinctive. Always drops to him or Robbie, doesn't it? Bang, goal. And then the second one, it's funny because if you look at the second one, is it Tony Adams? Kind of shows him onto his left. Like I said, that's fine. I'll take it onto my left and play it in.
Well, it's Patrick Berger's ball for it is just, he picks it because he comes off the bench, I think, right toward the last 15 minutes of the game, and he plays that ball into the channel, and Michael chases it down. And as he's running through, I mean, like, watching it from the stands, didn't feel like there's any chance.
No, there's no. But you know, with Michael, that he can shift the ball fairly quickly because he's got that low centre of gravity, and he can shift it and be that 1 yard ahead of you. If you have to take it any more, then you might be able to catch him. But that first 5 yards, you're not catching him. And it's evident that he actually shows him onto his left because he doesn't want him to come back on and try and bend it. Michael just said, yeah, that's fine. Just shifts it, bang, scores.
And the celebration. I mean,
it's crazy.
We always talk about Michael Owen never being the most charismatic of men. Where's the celebration? He does a flip.
Yeah. Is that not the picture? That's the picture from it there.
Yeah, we get the picture just there. Where does that celebration come from?
God knows. You know, sometimes you just lose it a little bit. Imagine if he'd injured himself.
Had he ever done anything like that before?
No, don't think so. Never again, has he?
Absolutely incredible. So, obviously, you lift the FA Cup, particularly in those circumstances. What's that like?
Oh, amazing. You know, you think that you're kind of down and out. And there should have been a penalty as well. Our mate again, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, that's another one. It's the Michael Owen final, but it's also the Stefan Ancho final. So the couple of, let's say VAR would have had a field day that day.
100% they would have. Jeez. But yeah, no, it was a great occasion, and great to hear that final whistle and then just celebrate after. So
absolutely, and there's no time to rest.
No,
because
the
UEFA Cup final, Lumen, Alaves, in this season, that game in particular, I think set the bar because for what's become the Liverpool way up until recently of doing it in the most dramatic fashion possible.
Yeah.
Again, you start this game, you go, Liverpool go 2 up very, very early on in that match, and it must feel like.
Do you know what? I can't remember that game.
Really?
Because we played that many games, I just can't remember that one. I had to watch it back to remember.
That was the most. I was 17 at the time, and that was the most stressed I've ever been watching a game of football. No, genuinely, I watched that match. We all watched that in a room. A bunch of us watched it together, and we ended up having to have something wooden to touch every time we said something that might have been a jinx for the game because of the way it was going. We all ended up huddled around the telly, and when the full-time whistle finally went, trophy lift, and I went home to bed. I was done. I'd never experienced
anything like it. That's a good thing, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember it as a result. But it's insane, isn't it? Because the way that game it goes, it's constantly back and forth. It looks like it's all in Liverpool's hands, and it comes down to, I think it's Jordi Cruyff scores in the 88th minute to level it up, and you must be thinking
I was being substituted by then, so. But yeah, there's so much backwards and forwards, and the thing when you look at games like that, you're thinking, what are you thinking? Why are you not closing up shop? Why are you not? that goes out the window when you're actually on the pitch. You're not even thinking about that, but it just needed someone to say, no, pull in here, come in here, sit there, do this. But no, we wanted to excite you.
And then it ends up going to golden goal, which again for younger viewers is you score a goal in extra time and it's all over. I mean, that's something else. It's mad to watch it back and you see, because Delphi Jelly head basically scores the own goal. He gets up, flicks it into the far corner of the net, and there's pandemonium. It's mad to
it's crazy.
to think
Everyone just runs on and it's just the game's finished. And you're like, huh? What happened? But yeah. But then for people with bad tickers, they'll probably think, yeah, that's great. It's over now.
Yeah. What was the celebrations like there? I'd forgotten this or saw this. I'm sure Robbie Fowler does the worm celebration in front of everyone on the pitch. I saw it in the footage. It's genuinely insane. But what's that like? You say the game kind of like doesn't stick in the memory. But you're over in Germany. It's over in Dortmund.
Yeah, it's just the thing is when you look at it, we had all them cup finals, but it wasn't until that cup final you can actually go and celebrate, because the other ones you had more games to play and stuff like that, so you got to get your mindset right again, and that was our 60 whatever game, and it was just like just felt like the longest season ever, and it was over and we had a trophy and we could just go and celebrate with the families and everything.
Any interesting stories from the night?
Not that I can remember, to be honest with you.
And the bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
So you go back to Liverpool. There's the open top bus tour.
Amazing to see so many people coming out and celebrating with us, really, you know, and with the cups and everything was just
unreal.
Another amazing thing.
It's a big season ultimately for you as well. 22 goals in all competitions, 14 in the league. Bearing in mind that Michael Owen only scored 2 more goals than you and won the Ballon d'Or. How did that?
Just 2 goals away on the Ballon d'Or I was.
What was it like? You know, obviously Michael Owen is probably your most famous partner, I guess, you know, your most famed partnership, you know, probably in your career, really. We've spoken before. I know you speak very highly of Michael and that time. But what was he like as a player? What was it like having that kind of?
No, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal to go from the age of 16 and be a professional player and go into that limelight like he did. Yes, I was a professional player, but I wasn't in the limelight like he was, where you walking down the street and you can't do that sort of stuff from day one, and you're the next England hope because you scored a wonder goal against Argentina, but to take that and keep going and keep producing and keep pumping out goals and keep playing the way that he did, and we just had an understanding and it just clicked, and it helped both of us, you know. Phenomenal player he was, and I don't think we've necessarily had anyone like that since, to be honest with you, who will give you the goals and give you that pace and give you that play, and you know, we haven't had anyone since. What
was it like coming into the club around that time then? Because obviously you got Fowler there as well. He has a bit of a. I don't think he ever truly really saw his peak years around that time. He probably should have been one, if not the best centre forward in the world, you know, around that time of his age and career. It doesn't go as well. I was speaking to him the other week about this, and obviously he said at the time he didn't really understand it. Maybe his attitude kind of got in his way a little bit, and he has the fallings out with Phil Thompson that he didn't really, you know, get. He talks about it in hindsight. If he just a bit, you know, apologised or whatever he might have found as Liverpool criticism. But what was it? What was it like? What was he like particularly?
It was great. Robbie was with me anyway, so I had no issue, no problem with Robbie. The thing is, Houllier was good for the club, but you had to be in the right mindset with that. So you've gone from being a kind of a pie in a pint team, club mentality, not club as in, but mentality. Sure. You finish the game, you're having a pie in a pint. You before the game, you have. But he come and changed a lot of things, and a lot of people, he banged head with a lot of people because they didn't want change, and people don't like change. They don't like it at all. But he was coming into a more professional, he was trying to make things a bit more professional, and it would have helped people. But he didn't see that, they didn't foresee that. And then when you come to loggerhead with the actual manager, it's only one person, only one person's going to go. It's generally not the manager, unless everyone takes a mutiny. But he brought good things to. So I came from Leicester, where it was like that, a lot of drinking, a lot of going out and stuff like that. And then came to Liverpool, and I found it difficult at first because I was so much used to this side of things. But once I settled into this culture of getting in bed at a certain time, make sure you get your rest, make sure you're eating the right food, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're getting a massage, that made you better. But I spoke with an ex-player and he didn't get it, but now he looks back and says, why wouldn't I just fall into play?
Yeah.
I would have made it longer and I would have done better. But we don't know until after, when you actually look back at it, because especially when you're young, you always think you know better, don't you?
No, absolutely. You probably still do, unfortunately. Like, you know what I mean? But what's it like then? You say you're 22. You come into a new city. What was where were you living? What was your situation?
I lived in Walton at first, and I didn't cope too great with it, to be honest with you. I put it in my book, and even though I was only 2 hours drive from Leicester, it felt like I was in another country, because I just didn't. I'm Leicester born and raised. I was literally lived around the corner from my mum's house, and so I was still at my mum's house, technically. Yeah. And then to go away from that on my own, yes, I had the family with me, but I was on my own at first.